Hello and welcome back. Would you like to know how you could start investing in real estate and actually get paid to live in the house that you live in? Well, this is what we are here for. If you don't know me already, my name is Maxim Cruz. I am a real estate broker as well as a real estate investor. And back in 2011, my wife and we decided to actually postpone our wedding ceremony in order to buy our first multifamily 4-unit house where we lived in. We delayed our wedding, but we used FHA loans with a very, very low down payment, and we were cash flowing from day one. Enjoyed living rent free for a very, very long time, and just enjoy benefits of what real estate investing has to offer. And we are doing these videos in order to help you do the same thing and get started with real estate investing. So, if you're a new real estate investor, welcome. If you're an experienced real estate investor, welcome as well. As always, I display a few different options on how to analyze deals. This video series is part of a special video series that I'm doing for my friend Denzel Rodriguez. So Denzel Rodriguez, he actually teaches everything about velocity banking and how you could pay off debts much, much quicker, including real estate. So make sure you check out his channel. All the links to his channel are in the description below. And again, if you don't know what velocity banking is, it is an awesome way to pay off debt without necessarily making any more money, okay? If you're a Kingdom citizen, welcome back. We are here to help you improve your cash flow. So before we get started analyzing this, let me first give you my disclosure. Because I am a real estate broker, this video is for informational purposes only. This is not investment advice. I don't know what your scenario is. So again, as always, I always recommend that you meet with your licensed financial planner, whatever, so you can get financial advice. This is for information purposes only. Now that we got that out of the way, over the last 13 years being a real estate broker, I have built a list of other brokers all across the United States that actually focus on multifamily investment housing properties, and that they help people do this as well in your community. So if you're not here in Miami, don't worry, send me a message. I would love to connect you with a broker in your local area that can help you find these type of deals, and that you can learn how to analyze these situations, and then also go ahead and buy one of these properties for yourself. So as always, let's get started. Just so you know, we are doing something special here today where I'm going to be actually showing you on the best use of this property and kind of what I would do if I was going in and buying this for myself. So as always, let's get right into it. We always disclose the property address: 237 Northwest 61st Avenue, Miami, Florida 33126. MLS number A10771293. So this video is being recorded January 22nd, 2020. So again, these are all the information as of what we are seeing right now. It is currently listed at $385,000. Let me read you the property description. Great income property, main house, 3 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, and 2 efficiencies. So 2 studio apartments. 1 bedroom, 1 bath each. Don't miss this great investment opportunity that generates, it says $44,640 a year. So I'm a little bit off on those numbers, but we'll check our numbers here. Main house rented $1,850, and the efficiency $770 and $800. Totally remodeled in October 2018. New AC units, a new flat roof, impact windows. Main house has full kitchen with stainless steel appliances, and each efficiency has a kitchenette. There's 5 parking spaces, washer and dryer. Great location, minutes from international airport, close to shopping, downtown, etc., etc. So let's get into these numbers first. First of all, as it is said in the description, this is a 3-unit property. One of the units is a 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom, currently rented out at $1,850. The other 2 units are actually efficiencies, so they are studio apartments with a small kitchenette. As always, we look at 3 columns. The first one is cash investment. If you have a bunch of money lying around and you don't know what to do with it, this is what the numbers are going to look like if you buy it cash. The second one is using bank financing, using 20% as leverage. Okay, so you're given a 20% down payment. It's just a conventional loan. And the last column is the owner occupied. This video is also a little bit different because I finally got myself a red marker so you'd be able to identify some of these numbers. So anything that's red is actually an expense. It's a dollar amount going out. So you'll be able to read this easier. So let's get into the cash investment side. And oh, if you haven't watched my other videos, go and check them out where I explain some of this basic terminology. So if you're completely lost, go and watch that video first, and then you could come back to this analysis or any other property analysis that I've done. Let's get right into it. Cash investment. If we take these numbers that are given here, multiply that times 12, we get an annual income of $41,040. This broker here disclosed that investment opportunity that generates $44,640. Unless my math is wrong, I believe, because we are using a spreadsheet analyzer, which again, you can get a copy of completely free. You don't have to enter your email address or none of that nonsense. You get it right here. You pop in what the monthly rental amount is, and then it tells you right at the bottom what the annual rental amount is. So, you know, there's a discrepancy there. But again, based on the numbers that were given here, we get a total income of $41,040. So again, let's go with the cash investment column first. Taxes, as disclosed, $4,791. Insurance has got to be $3,000 approximately. Water and sewer, again, some of these numbers are estimated as about $600. Landscaping, so somebody to come in and cut your grass because you're putting this money down, so I don't expect you to go and mow the lawn. It's got to be about $800. And then the electric here, this isn't disclosed, but I'm assuming that there's one electric meter for this whole entire property. So if you have other tenants that are living there, you're gonna, have to increase the rent or, put a little bit higher number because you are gonna have to pay the electric. Otherwise, it's illegal for you to actually bill someone unless they have a separate meter. So unless there are separate electric meters, I'm assuming that this is an expense that you're gonna have. Next are the repairs. Again, this is just a placeholder number because it was substantially remodeled in 2018. I'm assuming that there's not going to be much repairs that need to be done. But again, I'm putting a placeholder number here for 800. The only number that I don't include here is vacancies. The reason that I don't include vacancies is, again, this is a 3-unit property, and if you put in a 10% or a 5% vacancy, I think it's much more realistic for you to take 1 month off of rent of one of these units, which will reduce it by, let's say, $2,000 versus, say, 10% vacancy, which brings it down $4,000. But again, this is just how I analyze this deal, and you could put in whatever numbers you want in your deal analyzer, or you could download my spreadsheet and put in whatever numbers you want. So then we get the expenses, which the total, again, this is red. All of your expenses are in red, $11,791. Because you're buying this cash, there is no financing involved. That number is 0, which gives us NOI, net operating income. And again, the reason that we are using all of this terminology is because I actually want for you to put on your investor cap and start thinking as an investor. So when you are looking at bigger deals, those numbers and those disclosures that you get from the brokers or from the owner, they actually make sense. So the NOI, net operating income, essentially that is your income minus your expenses. In this scenario, it's $29,249. Based on that, we can calculate a cap rate, which is short for capitalization rate. Pretty much is just the ratio between your NOI and your purchase price, which in this case is $385,000 based on the listing price. Cap rate is 7.60%. As of this date in Miami, the approximate cap rate for these type of properties is between 5 and 6%. So again, a cap rate of 7.60 would be considered above market, which would make this an overall good investment when you compare to what an average cap rate is getting you. But again, typically those are measured in much larger commercial real estate deals, usually 100 units and up. So, this isn't really that relative to it. But nevertheless, it's a good measurement tool just to say, hey, this is what it's actually generating me. Now let's get into the leverage column. So if you had, if you are getting more experience, you don't have a bunch of money sitting around, but you're now getting your feet wet, you want to start investing in some larger deals, let's go ahead and buy this with 20% down payment. So what does that look like, the financing? $385 with 20% down, $77,000 cash out of your pocket. Based on a 4% interest rate and a 30-year term, your monthly payment, now this is only principal and interest, would be $1,470.44. So again, your down payment is $77,000. But let's go ahead and get into it. Again, the income is going to be exactly the same because, again, you're not living in this property. So these rental numbers are exactly the same. The expenses are exactly the same. As you see here, the only other thing that we're adding is financing. So financing, again, we know what that monthly payment is. Multiply it times 12 gives us a grand total for the year of $17,645.27. which then gives us an NOI. Again, our expenses, our income minus all of our expenses, that would give us a total cash coming in on an annual basis, $11,603.73, which then gives us a COC. Now again, if you don't know what I'm talking about, go and watch those other videos first where I talk about this terminology. This is cash on cash. So here it's the relationship of this NOI versus your down payment, because now we're not doing the $385, we're actually only putting in $77,000 into a deal. So this number is actually our cash on cash return. So we put in $77,000 in a year, we get a 15.07% cash on cash return, which is what that number is. Again, if you're a real estate syndicator or if you're studying syndication, typically syndicators like to look anything above 10% cash on cash return. So again, by those standards, that would be pretty good as well, right? So now let's look at the final column, which is owner occupied. Now the owner occupied, what I'm doing here is I'm saying this studio apartment that's currently rented at $770, that's the apartment that you're gonna occupy. Now don't get me wrong, if you probably have a family, this studio, this specific deal is probably not going to work for you because you might not want to live with your family inside a studio. Now if I knew this stuff and if this video was available to me when I just got out of college and I had some savings and I wanted to buy real estate, I would have done this deal all day long because I wouldn't mind living in a studio because I was already living in a studio as a college kid that had just graduated and just started to work, right? So hey, I wouldn't mind doing that. So again, if you're, whatever scenario you're in, if you're comfortable living in a studio, and again, this is just temporary, and this is what I want you to start thinking of, you're living somewhere. So if you're already living in a studio, this deal might work for you, right? So let's get into those numbers. I'm assuming that you're gonna live in this studio, so you no longer have this $770 of income. Now what we do is we add this $1,850 plus this $800, that's gonna give us a monthly income of $2,650, multiplied by 12 gives us an annual income of $31,800. Our expenses, the only numbers that are gonna vary here is the landscaping. I'm saying, okay, well, since you're living in that apartment complex, why not do your own landscaping so you could save a little bit of money, have some more cash flow, right? And then the other number here is the repairs. Instead of the $800 number, I'm gonna lower that to about $1,400, otherwise everything stays the same. So that gives me the total expenses, $10,591. The financing, because we are only given 3.5% down payment, remember, you're gonna have what's called PMI, Principal Mortgage Insurance. So your principal, your interest, and your PMI, your monthly payment is $2,083.42. So that's in a total year, $24,999.86. Our NOI, which is our net operating income, is our income minus all of these expenses, is still negative, $3,790.86. Which means that monthly out of pocket, you are living in this unit, but you're only paying $315.90 and mowing the grass every other weekend. So again, if you're paying $770 in rent somewhere else for a studio that you rent, this might be looking pretty good. And for all of our Kingdom citizens, again, the monthly cash flow, as you learn from Denzel's channel and Velocity Banking, it's all about monthly cash flow. You already living somewhere, right? You already have money going out. So why not, instead of paying $800 somewhere else, why not pay $315, which leaves you an extra $484.10, which again, at that time, if I knew and I was in this scenario back when I graduated from college, that right there covers about my student loan payments. So that number looks really, really good right now. But it gets even better, okay? And this is where it's important, and this is the job of the real estate broker. You need to understand zoning, and you need to understand what's going on with this property. So when I look at this property, based on the city records, it's actually a one-family home, and it's zoned in a one-family home area. Now, that being said, the broker here did provide some information on how the previous seller actually did an addition, and everything seems to be legal. I would still verify that with the city if I was going to buy this property. But again, everything looks like it can be used as a 3-unit property. But nevertheless, just for comparables, you want to see what other things have sold. And in this scenario, for example, when I pulled the comparables in the last year, so over the last year, there have been 12 properties sold within within a quarter mile of this property. So those properties, the lowest price was $152,000. The highest price was $385,000, and then the average was about $288,000. So again, that is the single family home. Now, the other thing that I did find was there was a property that was sold. Let me see the sale date here. There was a property that was sold on October 9th, 2019. That was actually a 2-unit building not too far away for $310,000. So again, that 2-unit is probably more comparable to this 3-unit. So again, they have it listed at $385,000. So I would say, hey, my argument would be with this seller is, hey, look, I'd love to pay you the $385,000 if it was a legal 3-unit. You know, unfortunately, this is primarily a single family zone. So, you know, some of the comparables that we're looking here, you know, on the low side is 152, the average is 288. I have this comp here that sold just 3 months back in October, since now is January, for $310. Look, you know, I want to be fair with you, but your $385 asking price is a little high. Now, I'm willing to offer $340,000 based on all the things that I just told you, right? And this is, again, the job of a real estate broker, and this is how you're able to get, you know, deals which are below market price, because that's the negotiations. So let's see what that looks like here, right? The NOI is going to be exactly the same. As you see, $29,249, $29,249. And remember, the reason is because NOI is based on the income. Since we're not changing income, since we're not changing expenses, that number is remaining the same. Now, our cap rate now changes. And why does it change? Because remember, now our cap rate has got to be the relationship between this NOI and this purchase price of $340, not the $385. So this is where in this rate it's 8.60, where in the previous example it's 7.60. So you can now see how, as the numbers change, your cap rate changes as well, and other things fluctuate. Now, what about with a 20% leverage? The NOI also changes, $13,666.16, versus right here, it was actually $11,000. And the reason is because, again, your expenses are the same, but the one number that changes is your financing. Because you're taking $340, you have a 20% down payment of $68,000. Your monthly payment is $1,298.57. So when you multiply that times 12 and subtract it from all this stuff, this is where you get your NOI of $13,666.16. Now again, the down payment in this scenario was 68%, $68,000. So this cash on cash, remember, cash on cash is just a relationship of the NOI that you're getting and the money that you put in. So because you put in $68,000, your actual cash on cash is 20.10%, where in this example it was 15.07. Now this is where it gets exciting for all of my owner occupants. In this scenario where I'm offering $340, because my financing now is going to be a little bit less. Again, here you see the example at $340,000. My down payment is only $11,900. My principal, interest, and PMI is $1,703.11. So you can see that's almost $400 difference versus that $2,083 number there. So because of that, now I'm actually cash flow positive on this property, right? So what does that look like? That looks like this. $771.70 for the year is what you are getting paid to live in this property. So again, you put in a down payment of $11,900. Your monthly out of pocket now is zero because you actually have cash flow coming in every single month. You only get about $64.31. You could say, hey, I'm being paid to mow my grass because you live for free. So again, if you were already living in a studio apartment somewhere else and you were paying $800 in monthly rent, now all of a sudden you're paying zero in monthly rent, plus you're getting this income of $64.31. So your total monthly cash flow now goes up $864.31. Now again, if you have a family, depending on the scenario you're in, this deal might not work for everyone. But again, if you're just starting out, if you already live in a studio, if you just graduated from college, if you're going to, acting school, or if you're a musician, or if you're traveling all the time, or if you have whatever going on and you just use this is your physical address because 23 out of the 24 hours you're out on the street hustling and bustling and you go there for an hour to sleep. I don't know about you, but back in my day, I would have loved to do this deal because again, the down payment is $11,900. You could work a couple months, get a gift, do something in order to get this money, and now all of a sudden, essentially, even hypothetically speaking, if you got a gift from your parents, right? And that gift was $15,000, you put it in this property, and then over 12 months, 12 times 8 is $9,600. So in a year, you're essentially going to save $9,600. So in a year, you could essentially replenish that money and now start saving for a bigger and better deal, or you can use this in order to pay some other debt. Instead of paying $800 in rent, you could use that $800 number to pay off some other debt. And again, for all of the Kingdom citizens and all the people that follow Denzel and Velocity Banking, this is the power of Velocity Banking. Now again, maybe you decide to live in a 3-2 and now you're losing this $1,850 in income, but you still have about $1,600 in income for these 2 studio apartments. Again, your numbers might still be in the I know that they're gonna be in the red, but again, if you only paid $400 or $500 in monthly out-of-pocket expenses versus paying $1,850 or $1,600 or whatever the numbers might be, I don't know in your math world, but I would much rather pay $500 to live in a house that pays me, every single month, that my tenants help me to pay that mortgage, versus paying $1,850 on my own and I don't own anything. Not only that, but you have things like appreciation. So let's say 5-10 years, if the house has appreciated in value, you decide to do a home equity line of credit, and you decide to start investing in other real estate, properties. You just have options. Versus with rental, your only option is to move because you got a job promotion, because you're looking to travel X, Y, and Z, right? Versus owning, it actually gives you financial options. So this is what we are doing with this channel. Again, if you're a more experienced real estate investor, I encourage you to check out also my syndications and my larger deals. And again, this playlist is mainly for how I got started. And now, even though I'm looking at larger deals, typically 20 to 100 units, and syndicate much larger deals and broker larger deals, again, I wanted to give back. I felt like I wasn't providing the content, the information of how somebody can just get started. And trust me, if this video was available back when I graduated from college, man, I would have found a way to save up $13,000 or $12,000 in order to buy a deal like this and live rent-free, or save a bunch of money in rent instead of just paying and not knowing, hey, when am I going to get out of this rat race? And hey, I would have much rather had this $484 extra for those student loans. So I don't know what scenario you're in. I don't know what debts you got going on. I don't know what your living situation is. But all I know is that whatever area you are in, there is a deal in real estate that you can buy using FHA loans. And the reason that FHA loans exist is because as an owner occupied, it's allowing you to get into a property that you own with very, very little down payment. A lot of people, they get into FHA loans and they think FHA loans are only for single family, but it's not. Remember, FHA loans, you could use anything from 1 up to 4 units. You can use FHA loans. So again, if you could live in a property that actually has some cash flow or has some tenants that are helping you pay for the mortgage, it sounds like a very, very good deal. And I've experienced this, living rent-free, allowing for, the mortgage to be paid, managing those units. I learned a bunch. Now it's given me experience on how to hire property managers, what kind of things to look for. If I'm going to do some renovations or constructions or some value add and I get some bids or something like that, I know if they're too low or they're too high. So you get all of this experience hands-on while you're saving a bunch of money. Again, we love to also analyze real estate deals. If you have a deal that you want me to look at, don't send me the address, don't send me the MLS number. I don't want anyone else, taking advantage of your deal. I'd be happy to put your numbers on the board. Remember, there's only 3 pieces of information we need, which is the list price, the number of units and what they're being rented for, and also some of the expenses. Again, depending on the area that you are in, I might be familiar with it. I might have access to it, so I might be able to pull up some averages. But if you don't sell me this, if you don't send me this information, I'm just going to estimate based on my experience what these numbers are approximately going to look like. And look, the reality is that, every real estate deal is different. And ultimately what it ends up being is that you start to see ratios. For example, on a cash scenario, you start to see that roughly, 30 to 50% of expenses, when you subtract that, your NOI is, about 70% or 60% of your income. In a leverage scenario, it's much lower. It's typically 50% or less. So again, there's different scenarios. So you could kind of have this 30 to 50% for expenses. So that's it for today's video. Go and check out Denzel's channel with Velocity Banking. Check out my other videos. Get into looking at deals. Connect with your local mortgage professional. Connect with your local broker. Send me your deal. We'll be happy to analyze it. And with that, have an awesome day, and I'll see you on the next video.